Hello everybody, welcome to the Kevin Campbell Show. There's me,
Lee Judges,
and we're going to discuss 5 things that we believe Arsenal need to look at and address. So, the first one, Lee, is what's wrong with this current squad? 2 is who do we recruit in January? And that could be hierarchy, manager, and or players. Number 3 is who do we sell? Because I think
that's slightly easier.
Yeah, that's slightly easier. Number 4 is, has this been coming all along with this board? Because I think they've had quite an easy ride at times. And last but not least, how long do we have to put up with this mediocrity as a football club? Because
yeah, that's what it's become.
Well, yeah, you know,
Yeah,
we're going to get into it anyway. So, in your opinion, Lee, what's wrong with this current squad? It might be. Where do we start?
Not good enough, you could say that. I think lack of discipline. If you go back and watch the game on Saturday, whenever time we attacked, just look at Torreira and Guendouzi. First thing was to hit the box, and not one of them holding back and standing in a position, sitting. So every time we went forward, they didn't just had like 40 yards to play into, run into space. I don't see that any other club, Kev. You know, I watched Sheffield United at the weekend, organised.
They were sensational, weren't they?
Absolutely sensational for 70 minutes. They blew out in the end, tired. But the work rate and discipline of those players, I don't see that with Arsenal. I watched Aston Villa yesterday. I see players struggling to walk off the pitch at the end of the game.
Put their
lot in. You know, Jack Grealish, you know what I mean, could not walk off the pitch because he'd give it his all. I don't see that from Arsenal players, you know. So there's a lot of things wrong with the squad. I don't think, you know, defensively we're good enough. Discipline-wise, we're not good enough. I don't think there's any structure to their play. You know, now you can look at the coach and say that that's down to him, but
Lee, let me ask you a question, Lee, because this is a bone of contention with me. Last season we saw structure. For a majority of the season, I know it went a bit pear-shaped at the end, but we did see structure. We did see Torreira playing in his position. We saw, I mean, there was some decent games. We remember playing Chelsea off the park at the Emirates.
Yeah.
And there was proper structure, and yeah, we did have a couple of different players in there, like a Ramsey and stuff, but it was still, you could see the structure of the team. Why is it all of a sudden gone?
Great question. I honestly think because of the way, as time's gone on, the way he's managing things. You know, let's be honest about it. You know, Mesut Ozil completely frozen out of the team. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, I'll come back, Mesut, and try and save my job. Is he going to give it his all? Is it, you know, I mean, you know, you just bombarded me out for 6 months. Players are seeing that, Kev.
Yeah.
Right. You know. Then you have a look at the Xhaka situation. Been hung out to dry. Whatever way you look at it, well, I know we say it's right or wrong,
before,
but at the end of it, you know, been hung out to dry. You know, not really. I don't know if he's managed that properly. I wouldn't like that to be me.
Yeah.
You know, I look at Saturday's game. I'm not sticking up for Callum Chambers. Had an awful first half. First bad 45 minutes that he's had. So, right, I'm taking you off. Right. So as they all go out the dressing room, he's sitting there thinking to himself, I've played well for six games. Why? Lauren Hardy have been playing poor week in, week out, and I'm the one to be left out. So is he going to think to himself, well, I've had enough of this now? So gradually they start to dip.
The confidence.
Because the manager's not managing the team properly.
But Lee, here's another thing about the squad. Why are we playing 5 at the back at the Emirates? Surely that gives the onus to the opposition. And by the way, this is where the club has come to. Southampton are coming to the Emirates, fancying it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I got off the train because you know, you don't get a signal on the train, like, you know, and then it come out. And my mate Lee texted me, and so I didn't know the team. All he just texted us in the group. He turned around and said, like, we're playing Southampton with 8 8 defensive players and 3 attacking players at home to a team that's in, you know, second from bottom of the league.
In disarray.
And in disarray. And, you know, so then when I looked at the team, you know, and he was right. You know, there was, you know, 3 attacking players when we're playing. Where was Pepe? Where's Martinelli, who's been playing really, really well? Why are these guys not playing when we're playing at home? And we're playing back. And then when you're playing this defensive, all these defensive players, Kev, they're still popping off 20 shots against us.
Yeah, true. And it's Southampton, second bottom.
You know,
and we're at home.
I dread when Man City come to town in a few weeks' time. Like, you know what I mean? What are we going to do?
Well, it's
in that time.
I particularly don't think the coach is going to be there. I'll be brutally honest, because I know we're gonna address some of this stuff later, but to what I witnessed on Saturday, there's a lot more pain to come for us.
Right, I'll ask you a question. You're a professional footballer. You've been in dressing rooms and all that. Like, what is your take of it when you see those players? Are they down in tools for this manager? Are they giving it all?
They're not giving it all. I could tell you that much. They are not giving it their all. What I was seeing, you always, as a pro, and this is what I look for. The result. Forget the result. I look for, do they do the dirty work? When the ball breaks down and somebody breaks past them, do they track that runner? Do they do the hard yards? Because that's when you know if they're putting their lot in.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to be going one way, all nice with the ball, but we've spoken about this before, Lee. We're such a poor team without the ball that if the players are doing the hard yards without the ball, we would be winning a lot more games.
Yeah.
But we're not doing the hard yards without the ball. And that's why the likes of Southampton, Crystal Palace can come back at us at the Emirates and take the lead. And to be fair, Southampton looked like Barcelona 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They were incredible. And we got away with murder.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, if I'll be honest, Southampton ain't got themselves to blame, because if they hadn't cheated, feigned injuries and things like that, it put an extra 2-3 minutes on the clock and they would have won the game. They must be kicking themselves, you know what I mean?
It was there for them, wasn't it?
It was there for them, yeah.
It was there for them, and, you know, I just look at it and I think to myself, you know, what is going on?
Yeah.
What really is going on? But, I mean, we're gonna get to bits to address it, Lee. What would be your 3 priority recruitments if we could in January?
Players or as well, like, you know?
Well, I think whatever 3. You got to make 3. Who would you, or what position, or you know?
I honestly think now, whatever Arsenal do in January will really determine what this club is about, what ambition they've got, and if they've got anything about them on the board, which I don't think that they have, by the way, they've got to go out and get a proper holding midfield player and protect that back 4. It's weak. We know it's weak. Every other club in the country knows it's weak, so we've got to put some foundations in front of it, protect it.
Yes.
Simple as that.
A dedicated guy
in there. Whoever that will be has got to be done, and it should be addressed now. You know, I would, if at this moment in time now, I'd stick Callum Chambers in there for the short term, just to sit there and just say, like, you play centre half in a midfield, you know, and until we get the proper one that we want. You know, if you can get a central defender in, then get one.
A quick one. We need a quick
one with pace, and is willing to put his body on. A proper defender, a proper defender who's willing to put his body on the line and do what you just said there, the hard work, the dirty work that we need in there. And I would go and get Jack Grealish from Aston Villa tomorrow. You know, if we could.
I rate him as well.
I watched him yesterday. He's all what we want in that midfield. Someone that can play in between the lines, works really, really hard, will make assists, whether they're little tap-ins from a free kick or something like that. That just shows you the assist thing is a load of rubbish, by the way. But he's the sort of player we need. Someone that can not necessarily be a leader in way of like structure and everything, stature, but the way he plays.
The way he plays, the way he
so
puts
if we haven't
himself
got this sort of colossus captains that are starting not to be a bit. Get captains or get leaders that are going to do the work on the pitch, and that's someone that I will go for. The 3 players that I'll go for.
I mean, my 3 would be, I'll change the coach.
Yeah.
Well, I know you would. That's your 0. That's a 0.
I won't wait till January for that. By the way, like, you know.
Yeah, but getting players in, I think centre half is so important.
Yeah.
A quick player at the back who can allow the defence to push up and mark tight to the halfway line, and any ball that goes in behind, he can be first to it.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. I think a holding midfield player is essential, because we're going to get to the sales after, because there's some dissension in the midfield right now.
Yeah.
Players not playing in their so-called best positions and stuff like that. The likes of Decore at Watford, I think he's been wasted there.
Yeah.
And he's got the size, he's got the power, he's got the running power, and I'd have him breaking stuff up in front of the back four for me. And I'd go for I'd go for a midfielder who can do box to box. I really would, because that's kind of what you're saying about Grealish.
Yeah.
Grealish is like a box-to-box player, but he's got that extra added quality, isn't it? So the likes of Jack Grealish or somebody like that.
Aaron Ramsey would be good, wouldn't he?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, obviously didn't want to give him the deal, or he wanted to leave, or whatever the permutation of that. We haven't got him anymore, but we need... Mesut Ozil's still a quality player, but he hasn't got both.
No.
And if we're honest, he hasn't got both. He's not one who will track back and make a tackle on the edge of his box and then break to get beyond the strikers.
I think with Mesut Ozil, I think that he's a player that we could do with in two years' time, when we're at the stage
when we're more set.
Yeah, at the stage we are now, we need someone that's going to do the
Graft.
heart. Yeah, he's going to graft and
add a bit of quality.
A little bit of quality, and I don't think that he's got the legs for that. Even and the players around him to be doing that as well. Like, you know, going back to Decore, I'll go definitely with him. And people say, "Oh, you're going to be able to get him." Throw a couple of the youngsters at, like, you know what I mean? They're in a little bit of trouble. Give them like Smith Rowe on loan. Give them Nelson on loan. Give them a few players that which will help us in the long run as well, but help them.
Lee, if we're serious as a football club,
get these players in.
We've got to go and get them.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. We've got to go and get them.
And if we can't get players from Watford, what chance have we got?
Yeah, we're done. We're done as a big club. If you want a player, you go and get him.
Yeah, and I see players like Sheffield United, Aston Villa, Tyrone Mings is another one, like, you know what I mean, that was allowed to go on loan. Look how well he's done and developed.
He's done very well. Yeah.
You know, there's players out there, and we've got to stop looking at players that with fancy names.
Very much so. Very much so.
Players that have done it, know what it's all about in the Premier League. You know, he hasn't got a very good name, Dunk, at Brighton. You know what I mean, like Dunko. We call him that, like, or something like that, Daquinho, or whatever you want to call him. But he hasn't got a great name, so people tend to think, oh, we don't really want him. But they're the sort of guys we've got to be looking at.
Yeah, I mean, it's more guys who do the basics well.
Yeah.
That's all, as a defence. That's all we want. The guys who do the basics.
Exactly.
You know, this is and Arsenal fans. You know, a lot of Arsenal fans get caught up in these names, name brand guys, but they're fancy names, but they don't do the job.
Yeah, I think that could come into that, you know, like Ceballos sounds so much better than Grealish, doesn't it? Like, you know what I mean? If I'll be honest, in the sounding things, but it ain't, you know, what we want. We want someone that's going to do the consistent, the English thing, consistent.
And I think there might be. I think we're missing a trick at Arsenal. I think we should have a British core.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should have a British core.
Yeah.
And here's the reason why, Lee. When you look at the likes of Sheffield United, they've got a core of players there who know what it's about. I think Chris Wilder's doing a fantastic job,
brilliant.
by the way. And if his name ever got linked to Arsenal, and I know a lot of people would say, Chris Wilder, we don't want him, we want Allegri and all that. But do you know what? You see the way they play.
Yeah, fantastic.
But the likes of Chris Wilder coming in, he'd have to change probably 95% of the squad, because the squad are not as committed as Sheffield United, because they put their bodies on. They can play, but they put their bodies on the line and they run hard. So I think we're missing a trick with a British core and people who actually know the.
A lot of these teams have got, even Leicester have got a British core, haven't they, of players?
That's right.
Like if you look at Leicester, they've got a British core.
I think they've got a good mix.
Yeah.
I think Leicester have got a really good mix. So Lee, moving on to number 3 is, who do we sell or let go? And that's obviously coach included in that. And I know that'll be your first person to go, but let's look at the January window. We know there's some dissension with Torreira. Xhaka, we know.
Yeah, I think
Xhaka's going to be gone.
Yeah, he's got to go.
And rightly so.
Yeah.
It hasn't quite worked out. Torreira seems to be not happy. And he's got fair point that he's not happy because he's been playing out of position. But even when he does play in position now, it seems like he hasn't got the discipline to stay there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And if he wants to go, I'd say sell.
I'd say close the door on the way out.
I'd say sell. So who would be... There's Mustafi as well. He's still lingering around. And we can get money for him. I think we could get decent money for these guys. Get rid of them and get some money in the coffers, and let's get doing some business. Let's get doing some business that we're going to get players in who are going to love that badge and run and fight for the badge first.
Yeah.
And let the quality players look after all the other bits. Let's get some devilment in that team, because we're so easy to play against.
We've got to convince the two up front as well to sign, and I think that's where January will come into it, because they must be looking around thinking, well, if they're not going to,
why would we stay?
Why would we stay? So they've got to show a little bit of ambition to them. Going back to Mustafi, what has he done? I think his attitude's been fantastic, by the way. Yeah. He's watching the two at the back make mistake after mistake, week in, week out, and he's just getting on with it, coming in, doing his job. He's done okay when he's not.
Well, yes, he has done okay.
He's done okay.
But that's the way to handle when you get stick. Keep your nut down.
And I think at the end of the day, even people are now in groups and things like that, seen on Twitter, deserves a chance. So he's turned it around. He's worked hard, and the fans have sort of, come round a little bit more. So I think he's done fantastically well with his attitude and everything. He's not the answer long term. We know that.
No, of course. But short term, he might still be able to do something.
I honestly think that Torreira. People say I've never seen him play for Uruguay, only in the World Cup or whatever. That's how he was brilliant the other day, disciplined and all that. Why is he not disciplined with Arsenal? You know what I mean? That's my answer to that. If he's not happy, then
maybe he's being asked to do something different.
He's not something different. He's not happy about it, all that. But if you've got someone that can do what we desperately want, and then he's not being asked to do it, that falls on the coach again. But if he's not happy, then I would look to get some decent money for him,
and then replace.
I think that up front we've this is the key. I'm going to say this now, and it is a worry if they're not going to sign their contracts, extensions. Are we going to, and we get a big money move for?
Well, that was going to be my next point, because although we know Aubameyang's probably kept the club afloat this season with his goals, Lacazette seems to be coming back into a bit of form, which is good. And realistically, if they were any other club, you'd build your team around them two. You you pay 72 million for Pepe. He's on the bench. We can't afford to be keeping these quality players on the bench and not playing together. But here's the point, Lee. If things don't change, Aubameyang, I can't see him signing.
No, nor can I.
I can't see Lacazette signing.
No, I've got to review again.
So if we were to sell, would you be comfortable with it? And this is what I will ask all Arsenal fans out there. Would you be comfortable with selling both Aubameyang and Lacazette, letting them go and getting the money in and then going from there? Because there's a Martinelli, there's a Pepe, and maybe go and buy another striker. Because obviously it doesn't quite fit, because he keeps playing Aubameyang wide.
Yeah.
And this is just, things may change if a new guy comes in. He may say, do you know what, I'm going to put these two up top, play them as a pair, and I'm going to let Pepe go where he likes to cause problems.
You see, this is the problem. This is the problem, because we've got a coach at the moment that's not an expansive as far as the attacking side of it, so they're being restricted. So we don't know what they can do as a two, because they're not getting. No,
we know what they can do as a two,
but they're not showing.
They're not showing it right now because
they're being restricted or whatever, right. So they're not doing it. So listen, from a fan's point of view, I don't care about how much money they get for them and whatever. I've been told that for years and years we have to sell our best players, and now 10, 15 years later, or 10 years, or how many years it is now, we've still got to be selling players. It's
but
a difficult thing.
Do we have to be selling them, or would it be good business sense to be selling them because they would only have maybe a year left on their contracts?
I think if you're going into a year of contracts, like it did with other players at the club, i.e. Sanchez, players at other clubs we've seen, Aaron Ramsey was an exception to the rule by this, but ultimately the form dips. So I don't want that. Mm-hmm. So if Aubameyang's not going to perform, or his heart's not in the club, then unfortunately you've got to sell. Mm-hmm. Do I want that to happen? No, I want Arsenal to show some ambition in January, show some class, get some top players in there, and make sure that we keep our best players. Yeah. But with this board, Kevin, I don't think that's going to happen. So do they care about the fans? No, I don't really know what to say about that. I will say this though, that if Aubameyang and Lacazette choose to move on, I'm not going to blame them.
I don't think anybody can blame them, to be honest, with what's happening at the club. Has this been coming all along with this board? Because we were fed a line leaving Highbury that once the stadium's paid for, we're going to be able to compete at the top table in the elite level of the big teams in Europe. Now, are we doing that right now? We've been at the Emirates a long time, and I don't think we've competed at the top table for ages.
Kev, I'm going to say it now, I'm hurting as an Arsenal fan. I'm really hurting at the moment, because it don't matter what they do. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm being taken for a ride. So I'm telling you, taken for a ride. With my emotions and everything like that. Like, I can't. I feel like I don't want to go to games at the moment. Like,
Lee, can I just interject on that, because I watched your interview on Arsenal Fan TV, by the way, and you said you're not going to go to the Norwich game. I think you're wrong to do that, mate. And let me just explain why I think you're wrong to do that. Because it's the ineptitude of the board shouldn't influence you going to Arsenal games. It shouldn't. And I'm being honest with you. You support the club. The board, you can't legislate for of what they're doing. And are they ever going to get it right? At the minute, no, they're not going to get it right. So I think you were a bit harsh. Maybe it was a knee-jerk reaction to say you're not going to go to the Norwich game, because I know how much you love going to the Arsenal games, and maybe it was a knee-jerk reaction. But don't let the situation take away your love for the football club, because I know you love the football club, mate.
Yeah, but I feel like I can't. I feel like it's hurting me now, Kev. You know what I mean? Like, and somebody said to me the other day, well, why by going to away games it don't affect you? It's the home games that that will affect the club, you know. And my point being on that is that, but my season ticket's paid for the Arsenal already, for the home games.
The money's already in.
Money's already in. Away from home, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like, you know, it's not just buying a ticket. You've got to get the training, the whole thing, isn't it? The whole process. And I feel that I'm throwing money at something where a board do not care that whether I'm there or I'm not, Kev, you know what I mean? Like that's what, and it hurts me that they don't, not just me, the actual fan base.
There's a majority of the fan base feel that way.
That have been told that, you know, for years and years we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but one day we're going to be this great, wonderful, powerful club, and I bought into that. And now I watch it, and I'm seeing us being outclassed by Southampton, and the board accepting that that's okay. Well, it's not okay.
It's not okay with us.
It's not okay with us.
Yeah.
And then you get people on radio stations or on TV saying the toxic Arsenal fans. You know what I mean? We have been, I think,
hoodwinked.
Oh yeah, mistreated and trodden on for so long. I've had enough of it.
Yeah.
I've had enough of it. Like, you know what I mean? You know, listen. I'm not saying that Arsenal, right, should have every right. I go to every game and think that they should win. We know that, even when we won titles, we lost games. But what I do expect to see as an Arsenal fan, paying my money and travelling around the country, is to watch my team with a structure, a defensive unit, and being coached properly, and then not going and watch what I'm seeing and then go home and watching teams, no disrespect to Sheffield United, Aston Villa, Newcastle, you know what I mean? If Newcastle would have won yesterday, we'd have been on the same points as Arsenal, right? And everybody's saying how bad Steve Bruce is and whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Doing a great job.
But I'm seeing them being coached, I'm seeing them work hard, I'm seeing them putting in structure and everything there, what I'm not seeing at my football club, and no one doing nothing about it, Kevin.
Yeah.
Nothing about it.
I mean, Lee, I look at the board. And I ask this question. Do the board want what's best for Arsenal? Or do they want what's best for the pocket? Because for years and years and years and years and years now, again, did leaving Highbury cost us more than just leaving Highbury?
Cost us everything.
I think it's cost us our identity.
Yeah.
It really has. And the fans pay the most of any fan in the country to come and watch Arsenal. So they should expect to see quality. And I don't think we're getting it.
Nah.
In fact, I know we're not getting it.
We're definitely not getting it.
Right? We're not getting it, Lee. So, therefore, the board have an obligation. They should have an obligation to deliver what is required to get the team competing. And the team are not competing right now.
No, they're not competing on the field, but off the field, it is. And I say that like because with the big, you know, like with the new shirt sponsors, wherever you go now, Kev, everybody's got the Adidas shirts on there. Like, you know, the shop is doing really, really well. You know,
commercially, it's a juggernaut.
It's a juggernaut. And I do believe that's what they think. Now, going back when we was talking about this coming up, going back into the old days of Ivory, when you didn't have to buy a ticket, right? Me and you could be sitting here today and going, do you fancy going to Arsenal today? Well, oh, they're crap, I ain't going like.
Yeah.
So we go, there's 13,000 fans over there. So the board then can react. The problem is now that all these fans now have bought their tickets for months in advance, you know, and it's like someone on Twitter or whatever saying to somebody, well, don't go. You don't go in there, right? It's all right someone saying like, well, I've paid, you know, some people have paid £90 for their ticket to say, right, well, don't go. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to do.
You've spent money. You want to try and enjoy it, don't you?
You know,
spend the money,
and there is a side of it like, oh, don't go, like, you know what I mean? Right? You know, it's very hard not to go as well.
It's not that simple.
Yeah. And you know, so they've got us. You know, I mean, that's the thing, Kev, that really, they've got you, you know what I mean? And that hurts.
Yeah.
That they know that they can just do whatever they want to you as a paying fan, because you know what? Because we care about Arsenal, you know? Now, if you go to cinema and see a bad film, right, you ain't going to go back the next day
to watch it again.
No,
are you? Of course you're not.
But
no.
you are. Arsenal can play a 0-0 draw, lose 1-0. 2 or 3 days later, you're up for it, and you're going again, and you're rejuvenated, and you go again, and you go again. But I can tell you now, it's starting to diminish.
Yeah, it's wearing us down, because it's not just about the performances of the team. It's about what's going on above it, and you know, they're not worried, because if they were worried about the Arsenal fans and worried about the fan base and worried, as you say in there, that they would do something about it, and they're not. You know what I mean? Like, there's discontent in that ground on Saturday, and what have they done since Saturday? They've done nothing. They've put out no press conference. They've done pressers, no communication. You don't hear anybody coming out with, look, we're sticking to the plan. Yeah. Remember, the plan is this.
Yeah.
And, you know, because the plan can still be done. Emery doesn't have to be the man leading the plan.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So, for me...
How do you feel as an ex-player watching what's going on now?
I'll be brutally honest with you, Lee. I don't recognise the football club. I don't recognise the football club. I don't recognise when things are going bad that the players don't fight. I'm seeing players giving up, doing the hard yards, running. I don't recognise it. And
heartbreaking.
And you know what? It's not only heartbreaking, but it comes from the top. I'll be honest with you, it comes from the top, because in any business, if the top leadership and management is not right and they're not demanding the best, then down the line you're not going to get the best.
Yeah.
You know, you are not going to get the best. So there has to be a leadership issue for me. Unai Emery's a dead man walking, and I don't want to keep rattling on about Unai Emery, because I think, look, he's a nice enough man, but you know what? I think this job's going to ruin his health. I really do, because I'm watching him on Saturday, and he looks a broken man.
I felt for him. I felt for him on Saturday.
I think he don't know whether to stick or twist, because maybe he's trying to put things into place, but the players ain't doing it. Clearly, they're not doing it, because any manager who's so-called defensive usually has a structure. It's that when you lose the ball, you can counter, but Arsenal can't even counter.
No.
And you know, that's the poor part. So, Lee, the question for you and all of us Arsenal fans is, how long do we have to put up with this mediocrity? And what can we do about it? Because I know you mentioned before that, you know, you feel powerless at times, but we've got to be able to do something. And, you know, people, I think Arsenal fans turn around sometimes and say, you know, the fan base is toxic. I don't think the fan base is toxic. I think the fan base know their football, and they want change. They want it to improve. And there's nothing wrong with wanting it to improve. I'm the same. I want Arsenal to improve. I want Arsenal up there challenging. I want Arsenal to be winning Premiership titles again. But we're not getting it. In fact, we're regressing. We're nearer the relegation zone than the top four. So we're going totally the other way.
It really pains me, and I mean, it really does pain me when people say, "Oh, we're never going to win the title again," or "We're not ever going to," you know, like Manchester City are so far above us, Liverpool are too far away from us, and you know. It pains me when people say that, because I look at someone like Leicester who are going to put in a challenge. And are they, you know, so why can't Arsenal? And I do think that because of the Arsene Wenger years towards the end, and with this ball and everything, they're feeding us mediocrity, and we're buying into it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're making excuses. You know, I've heard people turn around and say, "Oh, we're going to keep Emery because we can't afford to let him go." And then I see them down the road doing what they've done. The paint's not dry at their ground, and they're doing it. So I don't buy into all of that. Like, you know what I mean? There is, you either want to do it or you don't.
Yes.
And the
that simple.
It's as simple as that. So from the board's point of view, do they want to do? Now, I think if they don't want to do it, that board, that's fine. Then give it to somebody that does want to do it, and we can get behind that. And I think it's now up to the fans, you know, to just say, right, we have got to do something, and I'd be interested to know what fans want to do and how we're going to go about it to get this board out, or make them into winners.
But if you remember, Lee, could you remember? And we don't really like talking about other teams on there, but Liverpool. Could you remember what Liverpool done?
I remember what Liverpool done. It's a great point.
Liverpool were unhappy, and they walked out.
I think if I remember right, you probably know a little bit more about it. They was going to charge them £70 for a ticket or something like that.
They were unhappy about
£70 a ticket, which is average for us. But after 70 minutes, they all walked out.
They walked out, and they made the point, and they made the point, and it's the principle of it.
Yeah.
That, hold on a minute, you know, you're going a bit too far. And again, to be fair to the Liverpool board, they took it on board, and they reacted, and they made the change.
Yeah, and people go, oh, that will affect Arsenal. You know, if everybody walked out the ground and all that. Well, everybody was in the ground on Saturday, and look at it. So something's got to be done. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't know what. I don't claim to you know what I mean? Like, but. To know, but if someone come up to me and said, this is what we're going to do, and this is the idea, and if they said to me, we're all going to walk out the ground after 10 minutes, or they're going to walk out after 20 minutes, or whatever, I'm happy to do whatever everybody else is going to do.
Majority do.
But say if they're going to protest, Kev, it's no good saying, oh, right, yeah, we protest. It's not just the match day fans have got to protest. Like, if you're going to say, like, if you're not going to the game, you make sure you get there and protest, and then go home. See, you know, not because if you've not got a ticket, everybody's got to be on board, whether you're the match-going fan or not. I don't know how it's going to be done, but something's got to be done to get this board to make sure that you're either what we want or you're out.
Getting everybody on the same page
is going to be hard.
It is difficult. Protesting, anger, and all that, I don't think it works, because it hardens people to what they want. But something like walking out, if you're in the ground and making it, because whether we like it or not, this is an entertainment business, football, and having a half-empty stadium with like 25 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go or something is bad for business.
And you know the game I'd do it against, if it would be me? Manchester City. Man City, big game on TV, you know what I mean?
No good walking
out no good walking out when you're 3-0 down with 20 minutes to go. Like, walk out before the game, you know what I mean? Like, and you can go and stand outside around the.
Go and buy a beer if you want.
But you know what I mean, like, and watch it from on the TV. But make sure that they know that we're not happy. We're not happy.
And this is going to happen, whether it's regularly or sparingly. But it's going to happen until there's change, because change has to happen.
Yeah, and it's not a dig at all the supporters, peoples, and that. They've all got to come together, because ultimately
we all want the same thing.
We all want the same thing.
We all do want the same thing.
We all want the same thing. And if you're happy with mediocrity, then let's just all carry on doing what we're doing, having all these discussions, moaning and groaning, because nothing's going to change. We have got to take action somewhere along the line, and it's got to be action.
And that's if it don't change. But you're not going to hold your breath. I'm not going to hold my breath, Lee, because the way the board's performed so far.
Kev, part of me, you know, I know it was like yeah, you are right. After the game, you sort of say things in the heat of the moment and all that lot. But part of me genuinely thought when I said I'm not going to go Norwich, right, it was because I genuinely thought that he wouldn't be here by Norwich as well.
Yeah.
But now I know I'm thinking, right, well he is.
Yeah. So you've left yourself in a difficult position, Lee. As far as I'm concerned, get rid of that. Go to Norwich. Go to Norwich. It was heat of the moment, mate. Go to Norwich and support Arsenal because it's Arsenal you support. It's that football team who you support, and I know you love going.
Yeah, but it's a different Arsenal.
It is.
I mean? Like the board now is a different Arsenal to the one that I'm seeing. You know, I'm watching players, Kevin, at this moment in time that don't care about playing for Arsenal. They're not working hard for Arsenal. It's a very, very hard thing. People turn around and say, "Oh, it's great going with your mates," and it is. When we go, we have a great time.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's
not fun, is it?
It's not fun. That 90 minutes is ruining it.
Yeah, it's not fun anymore.
This is ruining it.
It's not fun. And for anybody at Arsenal, I mean, obviously I've got a connection with the club, having played there and stuff. And I say it's not the same. It is not the same Arsenal. But I want it to be. I want to rekindle that fire that we all felt. You know, we've had some fantastic teams of the past. And we need another team. Yeah. We need the board. We need the board to get real and get serious and go. Do you know what? We're going to go for it.
Yeah, and exactly because we need hope because we've had this for about 10 years now. Halfway through the season, I've got to wish for next season.
Exactly.
And then we're wishing for next season. You know. We want to go in there with hope and belief that Arsenal are not necessarily going to be winning the titles and all that, like, but give us the belief.
Give us the belief, yeah. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Well, Lee, thanks for sharing that. And make sure you go to Norwich. Go to Norwich, mate, honestly. So, everybody, thank you so much for listening to the Kev Campbell Show. We'll be seeing you in a fortnight's time. All the best. Look after yourselves and leave your comments.
Yeah, interesting to know the comments about what we can do. It'd be very interesting to know like, what we can do as a club, as fans going forward. And we'll definitely look at them and maybe discuss them the next time because I think it's very, very important we start doing it now.
And keep supporting the Arsenal because there's nothing like it. All the best.